Today we're driving the 2025 Cadillac Escalade V. This makes 682 horsepower, 653 pound-feet of torque from a supercharged 6.2-liter V8. It's full-time four-wheel drive, has a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it'll do 0 to 60 with your whole family in tow in about 4.5 seconds, maybe a little bit less. It is a beast. It's my favorite Cadillac Escalade. We've tested a few Escalades recently, and I can say that with confidence now between the four-wheel drive Platinum, the IQ. Just go ahead and swing for the V. It's only $165 grand, and it's fantastic. It's not cheap, but yeah, it is GM's most expensive, high-performance, and exclusive SUV. Let's talk about what it's been like to live with this week. We'll walk you around it, and then we'll take it for a drive and give you guys some driving impressions. So, like I said, we've already had a few Escalades, so you guys know the interior at this point. Lots of screens, not as many physical controls. You've got a button over here to lower and raise the air suspension, which I guess is cool, and a separate climate screen, as well as a screen for your heated and ventilated seats, your air direction, your settings, your lights, safety assistance type stuff, cameras. So I think overall this is pretty well organized down here. I would still rather have physical controls for some of these functions, but it works. It is a little bit distracting though when you're driving on the road, so I just kind of leave it on this climate screen right here. Unlike the Escalade IQ, we get Apple CarPlay connectivity. Thank you, GM, for leaving that in here. Fantastic. We get an icon to open the glove box. Down here there's wireless charging, cup holders with a little divider. This is really fun to play with on the road. More space down here. Beautiful carbon fiber finishing here. A cool box. Really nice seats. A massive panoramic sunroof. Digital rearview mirror. A V mode, which we have subtly turned on at the beginning of this video, just so we can hear that exhaust. Let's walk you guys around this. I'll show you what it looks like. We have 24-inch wheels on Bridgestone Alenza ASO2 tires, 285/40 R24s. Enormous 16-point-something inch rotors. They still look small on these 24s. Radiant red tint coat, probably my favorite color from GM. Air suspension, mag-ride dampers. It doesn't handle particularly well still. The V treatment helps, but it's no Durango Hellcat around the corner. Still, it's very impressive. It's super entertaining. Kind of sounds like a Camaro ZL1, but you could just bring all of your friends and family with you. Back seats, incredibly comfortable, luxurious. Maybe actually not as much space back here as I would expect for a vehicle this large. This isn't the long wheelbase. This isn't the extended wheelbase Escalade. So, I'm 5'10". I've got more room behind the driver's seat in a Honda Accord. It's a little bit cramped, especially with these screens, but you've got rear seat entertainment and, kind of an executive situation here with a big screen. Let's see what it's like getting into that third row. All right, well, it looks like the third row is completely inaccessible. These seats aren't moving for me at all. They look either broken or just non-functional. I'm not really sure what's going on here. We have these airplane style tables, which are very nice. Don't pinch your hand in there, that hurt. Okay, cool. But I can't get into the third row seats. These seats won't move at all. So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, you can fold down the third row right there. But what about the second row? With that third row folded down, there's a decent amount of space. I guess we could access that third row from the trunk. There we go. This is how the professionals do it. If you can get back here, it's actually feels just as spacious as the second row, maybe with about the same headroom actually. You've got a USB port back here, cup holder, not as nice finishes. Let's fold this other side down as well so we get good visibility, good cargo space. You guys have seen all this before. We've done so many Escalade videos. It's all the same. The differences here are the screens, the interior, a few styling changes. But the big news is how this thing drives and what the 6.2 liter supercharged V8 sounds like. So we'll kind of fast forward through some of this walk around, but let's show you this engine because it is an absolute monster. If you're hypermiling, maybe you'll average around 20 miles to the gallon on the highway. More realistically, you'll probably be closer to 10 or 15, or maybe even in the single digits with how much fun this thing is to drive and how good it sounds. Tuning is all pretty good. The 10-speed automatic, again, it shifts like a Camaro ZL1. It sounds like a Camaro ZL1. It's just got a bunch of seats and it's enormous. Look at that. I actually like the way this V looks. It's still understated, but looks a little bit more sporty and sharp. There's quite a bit of ground clearance adjustment too. So if we put this in high mode, the air suspension has a lot of adjustment. You can see it raising up right now. Yeah. 24-inch wheels. All right, we'll lower that back down. A lot of settings, a lot of controls. Some new standard features like Super Cruise for 2025. That's good. It works great. Haven't had any issues with it this week. You can go into the settings, customize whether you want your heated and ventilated seats to turn on when you enter the vehicle, depending on the temperature outside. You can set whether you want Super Cruise to automatically change lanes or do it upon your input. You can customize a turn signal camera, which was actually really useful in the last Escalade that we had, which was the Escalade IQ, which because of the size of that and the weight of that, classified as a HD vehicle, so it had a flat mirror instead of a wide-angle passenger mirror. This has the wide-angle passenger mirror, which means we can see our blind spot, which is really nice. Let's just go drive it. It sounds so good. It's fun. We've got a beautiful evening here in Southeast Michigan. We'll leave it in V mode. We've got a few settings that we've customized here. We'll show you what those look like. Steering is in Tour. In Sport, it's a bit too stiff. Suspension, I honestly can't really tell the difference between Tour and Sport. Brake feel you want in Sport because in Tour, there just isn't enough bite. I don't know what the deal is with GM's braking systems these days, but their pads just do not have a lot of bite. So I like to keep that in Sport mode just so that we have some braking force to bring this thing down from speed. The exhaust here has a lot of personality. There's a lot of burbles and pops in Sport mode and V mode. Just disgusting. I love it. And just when you think the pops and burbles are manufactured and tuned in, they become a little bit unpredictable. The 10-speed auto is fantastic. It makes all the right shift decisions. And because this thing is so heavy, it doesn't go as fast as you would expect with the noise that it makes, which I'm actually okay with. It handles better than any other Escalade I've driven. Stability control is still pretty intrusive, but it gets the job done. And it does relax things a bit in sport mode and V mode. It's prompting me now to engage Super Cruise. Why not? Super quiet at speed. That exhaust quiets down beautifully on the highway. The ride quality here is insane. It is so comfortable and so soft, even in V mode. You just don't feel bumps. You just kind of steamroll over everything. I'm just going to hold the wheel here just briefly as we make this change in this construction zone. There is just endless torque here. How do I feel about the screens? How do I feel about the infotainment? It's tedious to use. You get comfortable with it over time, but it's still distracting, and I find myself taking my eyes off the road to do simple tasks that should just be a physical control more often than I would like. Still, that said, we get a fantastic Super Cruise system that works really well, and it's the best that I could ask for, so it works. As an American performance luxury SUV, it doesn't get much better. The materials in here are fantastic. A lot of fingerprints on the screens, but everything else, all your touch points are just amazing. The steering wheel feels nice in hand. We'll negotiate a lane change here mid-corner. Super Cruise performs perfectly. Haven't had any glitches with this system in this V this week. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the Escalade to get. It sounds amazing. It's got this emotional engagement factor that no other SUV really has these days, except for maybe the Durango Hellcat and I guess the Cayenne Turbo E-Hybrid or whatever we drove about a year ago. That thing was pretty fun. It had around 700 horsepower. This is a pretty exclusive class. And you look at this thing and it seems expensive, but then you look at what a Range Rover costs that, you know, isn't as fun or exciting to drive, but still, you know, is about the same money for the Supercharged, or for the twin turbo V8 now, gone as a Supercharged 5-liter. And it starts to make a lot of sense. These are lower production Escalades, so they're gonna retain their value a little bit better than a standard Escalade. But that's not really what this is about. It's about making a lot of noise and annoying your neighbors. The 10-speed here is just fantastic. Full throttle, the front end lifts up. Under braking, it dives. There's a lot of body motion here. You definitely feel the weight with this Escalade V. This gauge cluster, it doesn't match this car's personality at all. It's this weird minimalist linear thing, and you don't really know what's going on. I guess it's fine. It's modern and tech forward. It's gonna just bang off those shifts though. You have a few options. You can choose between this gauge, Google Maps, whatever you have open in CarPlay, which could be Waze or something, driver assistance, which is probably more useful, night vision, we'll be able to see some deer running around today, and AR camera, which just basically shows you your navigation in this realistic display in front of you. See what I mean about the inconsistent burbles? I kind of like it. It's so raucous, so loud. Really the only tuning complaint that I have here is initial throttle tip-in is pretty aggressive for a family SUV. I feel like everyone that you can squeeze into this thing, if that second row of seats works, was just going to be getting a big lurch back at every light. So you have to watch your throttle tip-in here. Let's go back to our regular gauge cluster, and then also what happened to our head-up display. Height just went insane. There we go, we'll bring that back down. We do get a panoramic sunroof shade, which is nice. Didn't see that in the Escalade IQ. We don't get rear window shades, but the tint is heavy enough that I don't think anybody's going to be looking in on you. Interior feels pretty tight, getting a few rattles from those back seats as they're, especially the third row being folded down. And maybe headphones rolling around back there, who knows. But the interior, the front seat, the dashboard, the screens, everything feels really tight here, which is nice. You may have noticed I'm using this scroll wheel as kind of a redundant controller here. It works pretty well. Again, it's just tedious to use on the go. I'd rather just use this as a touchscreen. And to be used as a touchscreen, the reach is kind of far. So not the best ergonomics here for the screen-heavy experience. But again, I've gotten by. I feel slightly less irritated driving this than I do BMW's new iDrive system, for example. So take that at what you will. It's freaking fast. That is the crazy thing about this Escalade V, is just how quick it is. Ultimately, is it any quicker than the Escalade IQ that we had a couple weeks ago? Probably not. In the real world, they're all about the same. But just the sound it makes and the way it makes you feel when you drive this thing around. There aren't many SUVs that put a smile on your face like this. This thing is genuinely fun to drive. The handling is actually quite good for what it is, but it's also fun as well. It's kind of hilarious. It does silly things around corners. You have to respect physics while you drive this, that's for sure. Let's go in. Can we turn off traction control? Yes, we can. Let's see what happens. So many gears. I love the last Escalade V that we drove, and I love this too. It's just so much fun. Complaints, gripes, weird glitches aside, it is just a blast to drive. Watch out, deer. Watch out, bunny. Even with traction off, stability control keeping me reined in back there. It does feel slightly limited with these Bridgestone tires. They're not the grippiest compound. And though the 24-inch wheels look cool, I'm sure they could have picked a slightly wider tire, a smaller wheel, a little bit more sidewall, maybe a more performance-oriented tire with less sidewall flex that maybe wouldn't have been as comfortable, but would have given this thing more mechanical grip. Could they have given this some wide body treatment? Maybe that would have been cool too. For the money, that could be a bit of an omission. I think they could have made this handle and perform a little bit better, but at the same time, that's not really what it's about. It's just a straight line hero. And it just makes you want to do highway pulls in it all day long. Super Cruise, we're back. We've driven quite a few $150,000, $200,000 SUVs on the channel, and this is still one of my favorites. It stands out to me, it's memorable, and I think it's just the fun factor. A lot of it is that supercharged 6.2 liter V8. It's just hard to beat in terms of personality. I've gone out for drives in this week and come back feeling the same way I do when I drive my Camaro SS1 LE. Just a little bit more adrenaline pumping through my veins, a little bit more excitement. It'll wake you up in the morning. It's 9 o'clock. It's been a long day with the family. I've got 2 kids. I'm exhausted. But here I am. I've got a little bit more energy now that I'm driving this Escalade V. I'd probably skip the executive luxury seating package or whatever it's called, just because, you know, if you're going to be using this as a family vehicle instead of like a limousine, you're going to need better access into that third row. Maybe you'll want to pass through. You won't need all the rear entertainment, but maybe if your kids are older, if you're shuttling around clients, or if you're being chauffeured, I wouldn't want to be chauffeured in this. I would want to be driving, but it's a $7,500 option that you could probably do without, save a little bit of money. Starting price on this is $165,000, but you can see some Escalade V's up into the 180s or so with options. All right, let's turn off Super Cruise. Take control. Speed downshifting automatically there, making good decisions. Steering weights up a lot around a corner. It gets kind of gooey. There we go, and not letting me get into the throttle at all until the wheel is a bit straighter. Honestly, for the power this thing has, Cadillac's probably done a pretty good job keeping their customers safe with the overly intrusive stability control system. I don't know if I would actually trust this thing completely unencumbered. All right, let's get out of V mode for a second. I also have a My Mode setting, which, let's see here, drive modes. Let's see, you can control those over here too. You press the button, there's a button for that. There we go. So the gearbox is going to be in its more relaxed setting here, but the engine note will still be pretty loud. In My Mode, you can choose between steering, suspension, brake feel, engine sound, and all-wheel drive settings. Except for keeping the revs a little bit higher like it does in V mode, it pretty much drives the same. Let's see, we gotta do this. Sport mode, pretty close to what V mode feels like. Tour quiets this thing down a ton. Exhaust is pretty muted. Shift points are at low revs. Suspension softens slightly, but again, with this mag ride, I can't really tell the difference too much between sport and tour. It's just that good. And I'm sure once you get into it, in tour mode, the exhaust valve opens up and it lets everything scream. All right, so how can we sum up some thoughts on the Escalade V? Super comfortable, pretty good tech in here. Honestly, nothing revolutionary. The Escalade has had a lot of these features for the last decade or so, so nothing crazy, just lots of screens, and they work. They're okay. At least we still get CarPlay and Android Auto. It's a wireless connection. It's been flawless this week, no issues. We get some ambient lighting with this interior as well. That's nice. We'll see that here once the sun sets a bit. It is just after sunset right now. Driving dynamics. The engine is hilarious. It dominates the experience, and it's reason alone to spend an extra whatever you're willing to spend on this Escalade V. It's fantastic, and I love it. The 10-speed, same story. Really good gearbox, very well tuned, responsive, quick, and just nice. The handling, it's an Escalade. There are physics. It's a real thing. You can only do so much. It handles like an Escalade, but slightly better. Just depends how brave you are. Overall, it kind of hits all the marks, and I really enjoyed driving it this week. I've got to hand the keys over to Chris Brower tomorrow morning, and I will kind of miss this a little bit, which is, I don't really say that a lot about most SUVs, but this thing has just been so much fun. I really enjoyed spending time in it this week. The automatic doors that aren't quite automatic work better in this than they did in the IQ. They are more seamless in their operation. They take a little bit less effort to push. There's not as much resistance, and the soft close is nice. I think it looks the business. The blacked out exhaust tips. The wheels do look good. They fit the size of the car, the dimensions of the car. The V grille treatment is cool too. A little bit of a dance here with the lights. You can see that. And there's nothing quite like an early morning remote cold start with this. That's pretty subdued, but this thing rips on that first startup of the day. You can start it up in stealth mode, that's a thing. But usually, you're probably gonna wake up some neighbors. I don't know if you can see it now, but there's underglow under that step. Fast and Furious. This is all the greatest hits of like the 2000s. We've got 24s, we've got screens everywhere, a big honkin' V8. Great that it has a V mode right here that you can just customize to whatever preferences you like, except the screen doesn't really go away automatically. It's okay. You just go in and select CarPlay. It is a public nuisance, and I love it for that. That's the Escalade V, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I think let's wrap up this video with a quick sound system test. My audio track doesn't really do this AKG justice, but it has 34 or 36 speakers in it. It's got a bunch of speakers. It's a good sound system. It's one of the better ones in class, but it doesn't have Dolby Atmos, and it doesn't quite hold a candle to the Optic V sound system that I tested about a month ago. That is probably an improvement that we'll see at some point here soon with the Escalade V. Maybe for 2026, they'll bring in Dolby Atmos, and then in which case that sound system will absolutely blow your mind, especially if you listen to it through, streaming services like Tidal or Apple Music or things that utilize Dolby Atmos and super high streaming capability over cellular networks. So we'll start with this. We'll give you guys a taste of what this sounds like. It's a very good sound system. But it could be better, and it should be better, hopefully here soon. It's super clear, just super crisp and clean. I feel like this is better than the Escalade IQ's AKG that we tested a couple weeks ago. So take that for what you will. And then this is the best sound system of them all. All right, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. One quick 0 to 60. Why not? If it's loud in here, just imagine what it sounds like outside. This is a very quiet, insulated cabin. I wish they could roll the rear window down. That would be cool. Oh, collision going off there for no reason. What a ripper. Super Cruise has gotten better too. It immediately recognizes that you're on a highway, and sometimes it doesn't always even need a highway. It's doing Super Cruise now on 50 mile an hour back roads, 55 mile an hour back roads, which is, that's new. Never done that before. This is a great feature. On road trips, something like this would be invaluable. I'm about to drive my Ranger Raptor about 22 hours across the country to Bighorn National Forest, and I wish I had something like this in that. It would just make the drive a lot easier. Through construction zones, you gotta just take over. You gotta just do it yourself. And if the system freaks out or has an error, sometimes it'll lock you out of using it for the rest of that drive. You have to use it at the next startup cycle, which could be kind of annoying. But you learn to kind of know when the system might get thrown off, and you can always disengage it and take over yourself. But on good roads with distinct, legible lines and good weather, it's pretty flawless. And I've done many drives with Super Cruise over the last couple years, up to Lansing, where I've barely had to touch the wheel. All right, so we like the Escalade V. Will it get you into trouble? Probably. Is it a lot of money? Oh yeah. Is it one of the best performance SUVs I've driven? Technically no, but it's definitely one of the most fun, and that makes it my Escalade of choice. If you're getting an Escalade, just spring for the V. What else are you doing? Life is short. You want that noise on your daily commute.
Police reporting ahead.
Oh boy. All right, we'll wrap up here. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Just ridiculous.